Hey boys, what's going on? So today we are back on our famous page of looking at how dead uh, season one of Shadowlands is, and I don't want to be a party pooper here, so we're just gonna kind of talk about maybe some reasons why, um, activities dropping to all-time lows. Actually, I'm curious if anyone has the data or information on whether the current numbers for threes are some of the lowest ever, because I really feel like it is. Um, so let's talk about the context for a bit. So February, we're chilling. I think everyone was still super keen to play WoW in February, right? No major issues, but I feel like around this time, February until about 15th, maybe even the 15th of March ish. This would have been the perfect place to end the season, right? You'd have this kind of pickup here in the last 2 weeks, and then you'd end the season in April. So you'd be seeing some top numbers here as people try and push. Very, very clean cutoff for when the season probably should have ended. Noting that season one is a long season, maybe they should have just put 2 seasons in 9.0, right? I don't think that would have been that controversial. Put some of these PvP talent changes that they whipped up into 9.1, like what they've done in 9.1, and release it. They could have probably released that stuff in April, right? But instead, you have this story at the moment where in March, I think people were starting to get sick of the game. I think this is kind of 4 months into, um, what is it? Into season one. Came out in December, so December, January, February, March. And then, you kind of see this slip off. But even in March, the numbers weren't too bad. Like, they're definitely not February numbers, but I'm sure some months in February had similar numbers to this as well. Sorry, some days. But then this gradual drop off is happening where even like the Saturday and Sunday, which are usually the peak days, you can kind of see that in the trend lines here, Saturday, Sunday, is lower than the Thursdays and the Fridays of the week before. Like you can see this trend happening where more and more people are kind of just dropping off the game like flies until you sort of get to where we are right now, which is, I feel like around this time, maybe the date for TBC was released. And now we are looking at 3853 on Saturday, about 5,000 on Friday, 4,400 on Thursday. The numbers are not looking good. And then similar sort of thing on the Europe side. Europe has even worse participation, right? It's a smaller group, I think, smaller amount of people playing, but we see the same thing here. 1,300 games, 1,500 games, 2,100 games. Really, really dropping off. And then, if you look at RBGs as well, RBGs in an interesting way, I feel like kind of dropped off, a bit slower, like not slower per se, but it sort of feels like RBGs still have some sort of interest. Like they haven't really been declining that much all of May. They're still 1,100. And then if you look here, like there's pretty persistent numbers across RBGs as a whole. It does definitely drop, but it's sort of like bouncing in this range. So what are my thoughts on this? I think TBC obviously came out. I think TBC should have come out in June. It's a great time to release TBC. But what has happened is because 9.1 is so late, I think a lot of people kind of just gave up on the season if they didn't get Gladiator, or they did get Glad and they just quit, or they're sitting 3K or whatever. There's no decay currently. There's not many new people joining, so there's nobody to like feed MMR upwards. And there's no real reason to play between, if you already have Gladiator, there's not much of a reason to play between 24 and 3K, or whatever rank 1 cutoff is, 2850, unless you're going for rank 1. But a lot of people, might just be wanting to play and have some form of reward for hitting their goal. And the 2,700 achievement is one thing, but it's just an achievement. There's really nothing else you get with it. And I think what that's kind of caused is this big drop off in that side of things. I think a lot of people between 18, 2,100, 1,600, once they hit those ratings, they just quit. And because PvE is pretty sort of easy now. A lot of the big Mythic Plus and Raiders aren't doing PvP for gear anymore. They might be for alts at the start, but realistically, it kind of seems harder than just getting your friends to carry you through some keys. So, what are some thoughts on this? What could you do? Right. Let's have a look at. Is there a way I can see the rewards, or is this one of those sites where you can't see anything? Well, okay, so this season, right, we had the Gladiators sort of mount at 2,400, 50 wins. I think there was a tabard. I'm trying to see if I can find the tabard. Sinful Gladiators tabard. There we go. This is a tabard which you got, I think, for hitting 2,400. Like, come on, man. Like, what is this? Can I zoom in on this guy, man? This guy even feels ashamed to do it, man. He just want to show his face. Awful tabard. I think for a random, like, rep, this would be okay, but it's supposed to be like a PvP tabard, right? And it's sinful tabard. Like, it should be dark. It should have some patterns on it. It kind of looks just like a suit with, like, the arms cut off it. Doesn't look good at all. And what are these buttons doing? You know, it looks silly. So this is what I was thinking before: is can we get some rewards between the rating scales, right? So I think there's a really good incentive structure between 0 and I'd even say 2,400, right? You know, at 1,400 you get at 1,000 you can farm them out, the participation mount. At 1,800, you can get the rival mount. You can start farming that mount. At 1,600, sorry, you get challenger, you get the title, you get gear. 1,800, title, gear, so on, so forth. 2,100, 2,400, you get the best gear in the game. Very, very good incentive structure to work off. However, once you hit 2,400 and you get your gladiator, there is absolutely nothing to look forward to. I was thinking, can we get some tabards? Can we get some cooler tabards at 2,600, at 2,800? Can we get more mounts, mount gear, stuff like that, right? So, if we have a look here, this is the Wrath Gladiator tabard, right? It looks awesome. And this was at 2,400, which, I think this thing looks amazing. It's, really unique. It stands out whenever you see it. You see somebody, you're like, wow, this guy's really good at PvP. At the end of the day, the majority of reasons why people do PvP is to flex on noobs, right? Flex on people. And that's why people get obsessed with a mount, with tabards, with titles, this type of stuff, right? It's an ego thing, and you kind of want to play into that. These are cool things to have, and if you put effort into them, people will grind for them. They'll play. Activity will increase because they want to get them. And honestly, it doesn't hurt to just have more of them in the game. If you had ones at 2,600, a whole bunch of people at 2,500 who might have gotten glad just farming 50 wins will say, hey guys, let's try and push 2,600. More activity. If there's something at 2,800 or 2,700, maybe it's a weapon enchant that's really unique. It's a item that you can't get anywhere else, like a T-Mog. Maybe it's a certain new title that you add there. That's really cool. I think that's exciting, and it gives an incentive to push rating. You need incentive structures because in a game like WoW, where the core PvP element of it, right, there's definitely better games to play PvP on in terms of like League, in terms of competitiveness and balance, all this type of stuff. But a big reason why Arena is so hard to replace is the fact that it's in an MMO, that you get to equip your character with the transmogs that you earn in another thing. You get to ride them around. People go, wow, where do I get that? That's really cool. And it sort of seems like they had this idea in MOP, right? They had the tabards, which were really, really nice. And they had cloaks as well. And you used to be able to get this from getting 2,500, which just alone would give a lot of people an incentive to go for 2,500. And then you see the same thing if you're not willing to put in decay into, past 2.8k. And I'm guilty of this. Like once I got, 2,900, I'm like, well, I don't want to play if no one's playing because I lose my MMR because I'm not that good. So of course I'm going to get farmed by like good rank ones. I would definitely be a lot more interested in playing if there was a reward at 3k, if there was something interesting. And ultimately, rank 1 could be lower than that reward. Rank 1 doesn't necessarily have to be the ultimate reward. Maybe there's a certain reward for the top 50 players. It doesn't have to be the title. It could be a certain mog. It could be something you can never get anywhere else. And when we look at these capes and stuff like that, this shit's awesome. This stuff's cool. If I see this, you recognize it, you have something to take with you into the next season and say, look, I achieved this. I'm not just, somebody who's like, you get to all have that as a team as well as a group, which is what makes WoW really good. And if we look at the numbers, even something small that you can hotfix into 9.1 would be a really, really cool idea, right? Because right now, these numbers are not looking good, right? Where does this go when TBC comes out? Is it going to be like 100 games played? Because TBC is not even out yet. So pre-patch is out. So maybe a lot of people are farming pre-patch. But then if you look at the difference between sort of like April and now, sure, pre-patch could be one reason, but I don't think it's the entire reason why no one's playing. I think a big reason is, what's the point of playing? Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed these thoughts. And let me do a quick shout out to these guys who are playing, right? These guys are active. These guys are padding the numbers for Blizzard, because if it wasn't for these guys, this number would be so much lower. Let me know what you guys think. What could they add? What would really incentivize you at any rating, 0 to 2100, if you're, starting out as your first, second, third, fourth season, or if you're a 3K player, what would you want if you could have anything that's visual as a reward for playing? Alternatively, should there be a decay structure? If you don't play X amount of games per month, you're ineligible for rank 1, stuff like that. Or your rating goes down consistently. Let me know what you guys think. I'd be really interested to hear what your solutions are. Big thanks to all the Patreons, subscribers to the YouTube. If you aren't subscribed at the moment, it does help a lot. And if you could like the video and comment, it just helps to get the algorithm out there. All right, boys, take it easy. Peace out.